All right, this is a difficult subject to talk about. The idea of radical self-love. I don't profess to be a foremost authority on the subject. I think it's one of the most sensitive subjects and challenging subjects for all of us. All of us have years of experience of using the love word and communicating to others what love means to us. In our relationships, we're constantly feeling a lack of love, a lack of appreciation, a lack of respect. We feel we're not really seen by the other person, we're not heard by the other person, whether it's with our parents or our partners, but I'm talking mostly about our partners here. It's a difficult language to communicate to someone else what our needs are. And I'd like to propose that one of the reasons it's so hard to communicate is we don't actually know what our needs are. We don't know ourselves as well as we like to think we do. And often when we communicate something that's very personal, we communicate it in a vulnerable state. And everything that's deep within us from that place of vulnerability comes to the surface when we communicate. And it can become distorted, it can become very emotional, and it is often not received correctly by the other person. And it often triggers things in the other person as well that inhibits their ability to process what we're communicating about how we see love in that relationship. So talking about the subject of radical self-love. For me, in my journey, most of my life was probably radical self-loathing and hatred. I was raised to believe I wasn't good enough and I had flaws and faults. I went into a marriage that language was repeated. I was told I potentially had Asperger's, autism, bipolar, ADHD. Just constantly labels were thrown at me. And that was from other people communicating how they perceived me through their eyes. And the mistake I made was I listened to it. And that formed how I viewed myself, which was false. Because nobody knew me. Nobody knows who I truly am. Nobody truly knows my heart. I do believe the only one that does is my Creator. I don't truly know my heart and its fullness to 100%. And to go on a journey of radical self-love, I believe I had to just keep letting go. I had to let go of what people said about me. I had to let go of even what I thought about myself. I had to let go of what I thought I should be doing. I had to let go of obligations. I had to let go of doing things because I thought it was a good thing to do, even though I didn't really want to do it. You can even see in the background there's a truck. A year ago, I was trying to get back into the audiovisual production industry. I was going for job interviews. It's something that I'm really passionate about. I love doing. And I'm quite good at it. And I love investing in others in that environment as well. I love serving clients. So I thought, well, I'll just go for multiple job interviews. I went travel around Australia having job interviews, and the most common response I got was, "You're exactly the right fit for our company. We would love to have you on board." And after hearing that for 3 months, I didn't get any official job offers. And I was getting worn down. And I thought, I just want to do something that's fun. And I've had a truck license for 10 years, never worked in trucking, but always loved it. Every time I got into a semi, just really enjoyed it. My wife's done it too. That was just a really fun moment doing that together. And I thought, I'm going to get a job driving a truck. I want to own my own truck and drive a truck. Well, within about 9 months of doing that, I hated it. It messed up my back, it messed up my sleeping habits, it messed up my diet, it messed up my mental health. I kept sticking at it. I definitely had moments of just thinking, wow, this is so cool. At the end of every day, I was wrecked, and I'd wake up in the morning with terrible back pain. And I hated it. And whoever I spoke to pretty much just said, you need to stick it out, push through it. You made a commitment, you borrowed 100 grand to buy a truck. So today, I'm free from that. I have a truck behind me that's probably not far off getting repossessed, but I'm not tormented anymore. I'm in a position where I have greater clarity as to who I am, what matters to me, what I love, what I don't love, why I don't love those things, why they don't resonate with me. And I am so much closer to just loving who I am. I regularly have moments of going, I love who I am. I struggle every day. I have thoughts that are difficult to process every day. But I am more in touch with my true self than I ever have been before. I have more clarity. I have greater empathy. I have deeper perception of how other people really feel about themselves. And I'm moving into this space that, to be honest, is overwhelming and scary. But it's quite beautiful. And I think if all I focused on was radical self-love of myself, I would get stuck. Because I believe that I have a part of me that carries great love. And there's a multitude of blockages around it. And little by little, I've been becoming aware of those blockages, understanding those blockages, and taking ownership of them and saying no to them, and some of them just letting go, reprogramming the way I think about them. And when I have a thought that wants to validate those blockages, I just go, no, that's not me. That's not the real me. I am a vessel of love. That is why I'm here, to manifest love. And I think that's what radical self-love is really about. The authenticity of radical self-love is loving myself because I know I'm a vessel of love. And the fruit of that is radical love of others. So when I have a conversation with someone and I feel they're hurting, there's a part of me that kind of switches to, it's not about me. This is an opportunity where I can be fully present for them, listen to them, engage with them. And my desire is they walk away feeling seen, heard, valued, appreciated, and loved. I may have only met them half an hour ago. It doesn't matter. I don't think love has a timeline. When you're authentically yourself, you know who you are, and you allow that river to flow, it's just natural that putting someone else above your own desires is going to happen. And I walk away from those moments every time deeply encouraged, uplifted, feeling blessed, feeling loved, even though that person didn't necessarily do anything to love on me. And I do believe that God is the creator of love. I do not believe in the church's version of it. I don't believe in religion. I don't believe in man-made structured language around love. Love is something you cannot structure. It is so powerful. You cannot put limits on it. It is almost chaotic in an orderly way. Love needs total freedom. to express itself. Children understand this far better than adults. They respond to the negativity of parents, the mistakes of parents, the bad moods of parents, the brokenness of parents, with love and forgiveness. The parents don't deserve it. I know, I've raised 13 kids. I can give you 1,000 examples where my children have shown me love. I didn't deserve it. That's the way they are. It's unusual that the greatest teachers of the things we're desiring are right there in front of us, but we can't see it. You want to know what unconditional love looks like? Radical forgiveness, acceptance. You've got to look at children. No one manifests authentic love like children do. Even when parents are constantly abusive towards their children, the children start seeking out the heart of the parent. They believe there is something good, some potential. It's not until they go through puberty and become teenagers the light goes off and goes, no, I got pain in here and you contributed to that. I'm distancing myself. I'm creating this wall to protect myself. And rightly so. All parents treat their kids like shit. All parents try to love their kids and do great by their kids. When parents don't own what is blocking them from that river of love, the blockages manifest more often than they realise. We're in a society that wants to give us tools so we feel good about ourselves. I heard it said once, what you need the most in a friend, be that to someone else. What you're looking for in your loneliness, be that to someone else. Now I know that when you're feeling isolated, alone, and that nobody sees you, the hardest thing to do is step out of that and go and be there for someone. Just go and listen to someone. Go and have a coffee with someone and just listen. Even to the extent of when they're sharing what they're going through, don't share what you're going through. Just make it all about them. To really, really hone in on their heart and really let them know where the other person goes, you really care. You're really listening. One thing we don't realise is when we have conversation with people, when someone else is sharing what they're going through, we are not sensitive enough. We don't develop a radar of they're being vulnerable. I want to stay focused on them. If I'm going to talk, I'm just going to ask them another question about what they're going through. What we tend to do is if someone's sharing something about, my wife, I struggle with this and we're always arguing about this and blah, 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 we tend to go, yeah, man, for years, my wife and I would argue about that. We just never had any breakthroughs. See how we have just switched the focus away from the other person onto ourselves. We think it's a good thing. It's our way of relating. But what if we just keep the focus on that person? Because when someone actually gets to the point that they're comfortable to be vulnerable with you, that's hard. Don't lose that moment. Stay in that moment. Listen. Watch their body language. Listen to their heart. Feel their emotions. And it'll be hard. I've been practicing this for 30 years. But we've got to start somewhere. And I believe it's the younger generation that can grow this ability so much faster because they carry less baggage and trauma than someone of my age bracket. For some reason, I'm just a person that since I was about 17 or 18, have been fascinated by watching people and reading people and feeling people. I don't know, even when I talk about it, it seems like gibberish. I think, who am I? I keep coming back to this imposter syndrome. Maybe I'm just a fraud. My wife often told me that. She often would say, I think there's things that you just don't see. You believe you do, but you don't. And I always go, well, maybe there's some truth in that, so I stay open to it. If someone comes to me and go, Chris, I've noticed this, even if it hurts, I'm like, I'm going to sit on that. I'm going to meditate on that. I'm going to consider that. The one thing I always listen to is when someone says something to me in love, no matter how hard hitting it is, it really sits with me. And because I'm deeply empathic, I know when someone's speaking to me out of a place of love. The Bible says there's a place to rebuke each other, to challenge each other, but it says to rebuke in love. For me, that's saying if I call out something in a friend and say, hey man, I'm noticing this, I'm also saying, I'm going to partner with you that. You and me, we're going to journey through that together, however long it takes. That's what brothers do. I've always had this thing with bikie gangs. Always had a fascination, an admiration for them. Sure, we can talk about the criminal aspects, the bad things or whatever, but they're founded on this brotherhood. They look out for each other. They care for each other. Whatever messed up kind of way. But I think there's something special in that. I think there's something we can learn from that. Man, if you had a Buddhist bikie gang, imagine what that'd be like. You know, wear your colours. But Buddhism is so much about peace and living in the moment and letting go of all of these thoughts that are full of crap. A Buddhist bikie gang. I'd like to see that. Their clothes, their shaved heads, a dozen of them going down the street on Victories, not Harleys. That'd be cool. So radical love, radical self-love requires great sacrifice, but we've got to have some faith in the potential reward. I think we have to have a moment of seeing ourselves for who we truly are and have a moment of awe. Wow. That's truly amazing and exciting. That's an adventure I'd like to be a part of. And no matter what it takes, I'm committed to that adventure of exploring that beauty I've just seen in myself. And I think when we have a revelation of seeing how big that beauty is and that potential is, when we look at our trauma, our mistakes, our brokenness, they seem a lot smaller and it's easier to process them and navigate them and take ownership of them. At the Breakthrough Collective, that's what our culture is about. It's not about leaders, gurus, teachers, or anything like that. It's about people that see greatness in other people that's unique to that person and goes, hey, have a look at this. This is what I see in you. What do you think? And if it's authentic, it resonates with them. And it's the key to unlocking them stepping into a journey of pursuing that and saying no to the lies, no to I'm not good enough, no to I've got anger issues, no that I need fixing, no to I need help, no that I need to do this or I should be doing this or I should be doing that. We already know what is good for us. Diet, exercise, how we should talk to people, treat people. We know that crap. Why do people keep insisting on developing courses and coaching systems and processes to tell us what we already know? What about just releasing the blockage that frees us to own that and pursue that on our terms? Not something that's dictated by someone else. Because that's what we grew up with. People don't understand. We were dictated to by our parents. That's where it all started. And we don't resonate with that language. Stop telling us what to do, how to live our lives, and telling us what's good for us. You don't even know what's good for you. And if you did, you wouldn't be telling me that. If you knew what was really good for you, you'd be loving on me right now in a language, in a way that I would respond to and resonate with deeply. Everything else is just bullshit and noise. And I think I'm coming across people in their 20s, their late teens, this generation of people that are having an awakening to, no, I'm sick of the crap. Stop giving me systems, processes, tools, steps of how to live, because you can't sustain it unless it resonates with your deepest core, that river of love. You can't sustain it, because it's that river of love that is your greatest fuel to sustain anything. And we need to release that first, then say to ourselves, what is good for me? I think I'm going to go for a walk. I think I'm going to try a keto diet, a carnivore, or I'm just going to cut out sugar. Whatever. You do what works for you and get excited about it. And if you're not excited about it, you can't sustain it. And if you sit before some YouTube guy or a life coach guy or whatever and it excites you and it's their system, I don't believe it's sustainable. You need to create your own system. And I believe there's 8 billion unique systems available, and there's one that works for you that is sustainable for the rest of your life. And I would be honoured to partner with you and journey with you to unlock that. Because that's a privilege and it's beautiful. And I'm in awe at seeing other people's beauty. That's what I live for. That's why I'm here. That's all I'm interested in. Let's give it a go.